when the beat drops out.
What's going on, fantasy friends? It's Dave here with another Start 'em Sitting video where I try and make some of the hard decisions a little bit easier for you guys with your lineups this week. Now, get started off. Rob was asking, which quarterback should he start this week? Marcus Mariota, Blake Bortles, or Philip Rivers? So let's have a look at them. Straight off the bat, we're going to throw Blake Bortles right out there. He's going to throw in the trash. Even though he's already thrown 649 yards this season, he's only thrown for 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. And he's up against the #1 ranked passing defense in the Baltimore Ravens. So let's avoid that one. So we've got the decision between Marcus Mariota and Philip Rivers. So let's have a look at their stats. Mariota, he's currently on 509 yards for the season, 4 touchdowns, and he's rushed for 30 yards. Philip Rivers is thrown for 463 yards, he's thrown for 5 touchdowns, and he's rushed for 19 yards. So, essentially they're both fairly even. Rivers has obviously lost Keenan Allen for the year. Danny Woodhead is now gone. So that's 2 catchers that he has lost. The question is, who's he really going to throw to? Now, he does have weapons. Terrell Williams is there. Antonio Gates, sure. Yeah. I mean, there are guys, and Philip Rivers is one of... You can probably class him as a top 10 quarterback. But they're up against the Colts. And the Colts aren't the best defense. They're ranked 24th against the pass. But Mariota is up against the Raiders, who are last against the pass. And they have averaged 404 passing yards per game. That's a lot. They're letting by 34.5 points per game. That's a lot. So I'd risk it for the biscuit, and I would go with Mariota. You can't bench a guy who's up against the last place passing defense who have allowed that many yards. So, Rob, my advice would be to go for Mariota. Next up is Matty. Matty's asking if he should start Kenny Stills or Terrell Williams. So again, let's have a look at those stats. So Kenny Stills has caught 3 catches out of his 9 targets for 55 yards. He's got himself 1 touchdown. And Terrell Williams, he has caught 5 catches. I'm not too sure how many targets he's got. It's hard to find stats on him. But he's managed to rack up 132 yards and a TD. Well, I was raving about Williams the other week in my waiver wire. I told you guys he was risk or reward. And Matty's picked him up. And currently, he has rewarded Matty. Kenny Stills, on the other hand, has dropped just touchdown passes. We've all seen it. And the thing is now with Miami is Devontae Parker is back. So Devontae Parker is going to get a lot of looks. So that means Kenny Stills' production has to go down. The upside is there for Williams with Rivers having lost Keenan Allen and Danny Woodhead. It means that Williams should see a lot more production. And the way he's played so far, you got to imagine he's going to get it. Just quickly, Kenny Stills, he's up against the 20th ranked passing defense in the Browns. Terrell Williams, like I said, up against the Colts, 24th. Go with Williams all the way there. Nige, as per every week, wants to know, should he start Theo Riddick? It's either Theo Riddick or Charles Sims. So, Riddick, stats-wise, 82 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 5.8 yards per carry. Has also caught 91 yards passing and a touchdown. Sims hasn't played as much because Doug Martin is the general workhorse. Sims has had 33 yards, 2.5 yards per carry, 36 yards catching, and a touchdown. The difference is Riddick is up against the #1 Russian defense with the Packers, but they are 18th against the pass. So swings and roundabouts there. Sims, and I know you've got him starting at the moment, is up against the Rams. The Rams are technically, they are 19th against the pass, but the jump that they made from their first game to their second game defensively was huge. And we all know from previous seasons they have got an amazing front seven. Team just fell apart a little bit week one, and they allowed 150 rushing yards. But against the Seahawks, who are generally a powerhouse when it comes to running, they only allowed 67 yards. And I think that with the lack of running ability now with the Buccaneers for the next few weeks, I think the Rams will be able to shut them out. That's why I would go with Riddick. He might not get as many yards rushing that you would want, but he is a brilliant pass catching running back, and in a PPR league, that's what you want. I'd be going with Riddick. Next up, you got Chris. He's got a few questions to ask. He wants to know which of the running backs that he traded for should he start. So that's Spencer Ware and Chris Ivory. I mean, flat out, I think Spencer Ware's the guy. But we'll quickly run through the stats, just to give you a peace of mind. So Spencer Ware has rushed for 127 yards, 1 touchdown. He's averaging 6 yards per carry. He's also managed to get 177 yards catching, which is brilliant for a running back. He is up against the 5th best rushing defense in the Jets, but they are 25th against the pass. Chris Ivory, on the other hand, hasn't produced anything this year. Obviously, he was out for medical reasons, whether that was just a cold, whatever it was. We've not been divulged enough information to know what was wrong with him. He's still not been cleared yet. He did practice yesterday, Wednesday, which is a good sign. But it's still not clear if he's going to play. He also has the calf problems that he's had for years that still linger on him. And after being out of football for a bit, how's he gonna perform first match back? How much are they gonna involve him with T.Y. Yeldon there as well? He's up against the Ravens. First against the pass, 16th against the run. I would go with Ware just purely because of the fact that he has produced so far. He's going to produce until Jamal Charles comes back. He's not really sharing the load with anyone. Ivory will share the load if he does play. I think Spencer Ware's the guy you go with. Also for Chris, he was wondering which tight ends to start. He's got Jesse James and Jimmy Graham. This was this is probably the hardest one that I've had to do. Now, looking at the stats, so Jesse James has had 8 catches out of 12 targets, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Up against the 5th best passing defense in the Eagles. And then Jimmy Graham, on the other hand, he has had 4 catches for 5 attempts, 53 yards, no touchdowns. Up against the 11th best passing defense in the 49ers. So when you look at the stats, you see straight away that Jimmy Graham has essentially got the same stats for half the amount of work. He's caught 4, got 53 yards, whereas Jesse James got 8 and 60 yards. But Ladarius Green isn't fit yet, so Jesse James is that number 1 tight end. He's not really sharing a workload with anyone. Jimmy Graham, on the other hand, coming off of the knee surgery, which is a very tough surgery to bounce back from football-wise, to produce the way that Jimmy Graham used to produce. He was by far the second best tight end in the league. he's produced more in the second week than he did in the first week. But he does have to contend with Luke Wilson there as well. Luke Wilson had the higher production in week 1, but he ended up having less snaps, less reps in week 2, which could mean that Jimmy Graham's gonna have the bulk of reps week 3. But it's that fear of, like, if Luke Wilson's there and has a good game, you're gonna go with Luke Wilson. I mean, it's the same thing you could say if Jimmy Graham has a good game, they're gonna carry on with Jimmy Graham. But I think with the fact that Jesse James is Jesse James on his own, you gotta go with Jesse James. That's my opinion. And last up for Chris. Chris is wondering whether or not he went for Tavon Austin or Victor Cruz. It's a pretty easy one for me. Although, like, mad love for you wanting to rep Tavon Austin. He is a firecracker. He is a guy that can rack up points here and there. But what I found with Tavon Austin is out of 16 games in the year, he only lights it up in about 4 of them. He'll have monster games, and then everything else is just really mediocre. At this point in time, Austin has caught 9 catches, which is it's quite a bit for a receiver, but it's out of 21 targets. Now the targets are there, which is brilliant, but you've got to question why he's not caught that many, because he's not a deep threat. Never has been. He's a short threat. So you've got to look at those 21 targets and wonder why he's not caught 12 of them. Out of those 9 catches, he's managed to rack up only 63 yards. No touchdowns. The Rams like to do some end arounds, tricky shit, and they've not been able to utilize him so far. They are up against the 26th ranked passing defense in Tampa Bay, so that does have its upside. But Victor Cruz, like Terrell Williams, is one of the guys I raved about in my first week of the waiver wire. Why nobody picked up Victor Cruz is beyond me. I know that he hasn't played a regular season game, or hadn't played a regular season game for 2 years, so no one is really going to know what's happening, but the guy basically doubled his production from week 1 in week 2, and at the moment he's currently sitting on 8 catches out of 12 targets for 125 yards and 1 touchdown. They are up against the 19th ranked Washington Redskins at the pass, but with this being a divisional game, most of the time these things are shootouts. Everyone plays their best. I would have to go for Victor Cruz. So, without letting this video drag on too long, because it's gonna be long, because there's one more person that basically wanted me to help them out with their full team. So you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait for the next video. Bye bye.